Hey everybody, welcome to day one. We are going to be focusing on form and function this fall. That wasn't even on purpose. Super cheesy. Anyway, today is day one. I am so stoked to get back into pulling weight, pushing weight, yanking weight around, throwing it around. So form and function, we're going to take some extra time to chat, to slow down, to set in, to make sure that we're doing things properly, to make sure that we're building the muscle the way that we want. I really do feel like I've gotten kind of some comments recently, hey, I've been working out a while, whether with me or somewhere else, weightlifting, and the tone just isn't where I think it should be. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with form, throwing the right amount of weight around and doing it properly so that we don't get injured along the way, really connecting mind to muscle, what we can be using both directions. So don't worry, we are definitely going to be throwing in high intensity. I have planned some superset days that we're going to program throughout so that we can watch progression for different things and just keep track of our progress. But really try your best. I mean, I want you to be here for you, but for me, and as I'm writing everything for these next 12 weeks, I'm really wanting to set my mind to what is form and how can we use it to function in our everyday lives. So we're going to be focusing on our core a lot, making sure our back is strong and stable, and making sure that we can find our glutes as well as the pelvic floor muscles combined with that core, just so that we can function in our everyday lives, whether you have a crazy livelihood or something that's a little bit more mellow, sitting in a chair at a desk all day. All those things can be done a little bit better and with better posture and with muscles that can hold us together, and that can also help our metabolism run a little bit higher so that hopefully our body weight is at a better and more appropriate place. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started with our first day here. We're going to start with just mobility and warm up. So plant your feet just outside the hips. Inhale, bring your arms all the way up. And then exhale, I want you to twist your upper body to the left. Try your best to keep the hips straight ahead. And then just lean over the legs as far as you can. That's your exhale. Inhale. Bring it up. Try to twist to the right. You might not get very far. That's okay. It's more about that form. Remember, form, getting us in the right place, getting to each direction appropriately. So kind of counter twist your hips as you rotate through that mid back and then exhale over. Just a quick reminder, your stability and mobility points in your kinetic chain of the body. Your neck is mobile, so it should be able to swivel around and move around. Your shoulders are stable, which is confusing for a lot of people because the shoulders have those ball and socket joints. But really, we're talking about that upper back staying stable and moving. Then the mid back, the thoracic spine, is mobile. So that's what we're trying to get into here, building mobility. A lot of times we get tight through that thoracic spine. So mobility there. Just kind of think of those pieces as we're going through this. Low back, stable. So it's going to try to stay fixed. And you do that by grabbing through the core. Your hips are also mobile, so they can hinge, push back. So as you move those hips around, that low back still stays stable, and your thoracic spine can take the rotation. So low back or hips are mobile. Knees are stable. They just go back just like that. They don't need to move in and out or be hyperextended. And then your ankles are mobile. All right, with that, we're done with our swing side to side. Now we're going to take a leg march, a single leg march, and twist over that leg as it comes up. So I want your knee to come up across the body. My right leg's coming forward. Left elbow crosses over that thigh. Core is strong. Chest is up. Still think of those stable and mobile points. So my shoulders should be moving together, that upper back, and I'm twisting from my mid back, moving the hip, but keeping the low back stable. Let's go one more. Tighten through that core. Think about your core being pulled together, clenching in deep. We're really starting to talk a lot about the core, focusing on that overall flexion and connection through the last couple weeks in our last series. So we're just going to be continuing on with that, thinking about that constantly. Reach, twist through that mid back. One more. Awesome. Okay, go ahead and come on down to the ground. You can hinge over your legs and walk your hands out, however you like to get down there. And we're going to hit up a downward facing dog. So it's super important to get those fingertips spread really wide and push into that thumb and first finger. A lot of times we end up hinging out toward the pinky side of the palm and putting a lot of pressure on the outside of the wrist. We want to really focus on suction cupping those knuckles and pushing into your thumb and first finger. So you want control and weight distribution even through those hands. Okay, now travel up the arms, hollow out your armpits, so suck them in and feel your shoulder blades slide down your spine. Keep traveling down through the rib cage, grab the core, your pelvic floor muscles contract, so it's like you're trying to stop yourself from peeing. You should feel, when you grab there, you should feel super deep inside the low interior core, and then keep driving the chest back toward your thighs, and you can feel a little stretch through the hamstrings. If getting your hips high in the air proves difficult, bend your knees and press your chest back here. And then as you slowly get a little more flexible, you can drop those heels toward the ground. All right, let's go ahead and drop our knees down. We're going to do a little bit more wrist warm up. So again, spread those fingers wide. I like for my first finger to point straight ahead and each finger really opening and spreading wide from there. So bring your shoulders up over those fingertips, a few cracks through the wrists. Our hands and our feet do so much for us throughout the day. Got to give a little love back. And if you do much weightlifting, it really helps to keep the forearms and the wrists happy, because then that will travel up into happiness, into elbows and shoulders, your neck from there. All right, let's take little circles around one direction, around those wrists, reach out, still keep that even weight distribution. So watch and see if your palms are lifting or moving. Reverse your circle. Check in with your core. So you get that core contraction by kind of just tightening it in on itself. All right, and then go ahead and stop there, hinge back onto your feet so your toes are curled under, your heels are sitting right underneath your hips, so you can get a little stretch through the bottoms of the feet. And then turn your fingertips so that they point at your knees. All right, if this is a little too much, you might have to bring yourself back up a little bit. Be gentle, take your time getting here, and I promise it will get better. When I first started doing wrist and forearm stuff, it was definitely a little agonizing, but it has paid off. All right, go ahead and sit all the way back on those heels. Roll through the wrists. Okay, we're going to get started. So we're going to start off with core, and we want to think of core as stability. So a lot of times we just get focused on the front of the belly being flat. We want our six pack, or we want tone, or whatever else. And it's really, really necessary to start inside. So if we don't have a strong interior core system, those transverse abdominis and the deep pelvic floor muscles, then it's really difficult to get everything else into alignment and to hold support for your low back. So we're going to start off with a bird dog. So plant those hands. If you need help on the wrist, you can always go knuckles. Sometimes it helps to have the wrist in a neutral position. If you've twisted your wrist a lot or sprained them, broken them, then that can be helpful. But I would challenge you, if you just have wrists that get hurt or get tired a lot, to kind of just try to strengthen them, do some of the stretches and moves that we do, and slowly get to where you can get a few more minutes or exercises or poses on your hands, if it's, within your wheelhouse. So it doesn't have to happen. There's a lot of ways to work around it. All right, so hands are down, grip evenly through those palms, right? Knees are right underneath your hips. So before we even start moving, I want you to find your core. So again, those pelvic floor muscles, draw up and in, and then tighten all the way around your core. So if you can envision vacuum packing your comforter for the winter, for the summer, or whatever, that's what I want you to think about. That vacuum pulling, sucking, tightening, and that's all your core and torso just tightening in toward itself. So under the rib cage, through the back, through the pelvic floor. So you're going to hold that. Elbows are going to point back toward your knees. So that's a torque and a twist, an internal rotation for those arms, and then you're going to help facilitate the back charging. So now we're going to take our opposite arm and leg away from us. So our right arm is out and your left leg is out, and I want you to hold. So grip deep through the core, level off through the hips, slide your shoulder blade down, and what we're trying to find here is contraction. So just hold, just hold. Tighten deep through the core, flex deep. I'm going to take my watch off here so we have time. Keep holding. So keep scanning the body, travel up and down that line through the hand, the back, the shoulder, the core. All right, set that side down, and then we're going to go to the other side. Extend your left arm, right leg, flex the foot. So see if you can find some traction between your right hand and left knee. Flex the foot, find the core. This is not tough if you just hold it up there, yank it, rely on your structural system to grab. So you're going to get a lot more out of every exercise if you can figure out how to make it the toughest possible. So you take each set, each rep, and you're making it work for you. All right, and we're there. So I'm going to have you go back to the bird dog on the other side unless you're good with a plank. So we're going to stay on our hands and come up onto the toes. So your shoulders up over the wrists. Don't forget about those big, wide open palms. And now we're going to do a held plank with one appendage lifted. So lift up your left leg and hold. Again, we want to tighten those elbows back toward the toes. Tuck the tailbone under. Hold flexion all through the core, all through the back. Switch your leg. Other leg is going to lift. Tighten deep, belly hold strong. Find traction between your hands and toe. Okay, we're going to try for a hand. If a hand doesn't work, then you can stay with one foot lifted. So just widen off your feet. We have 50 seconds here, 15 on the other side. Find your core. Remember, we're trying to get into the idea of core as stability. Okay, switch. So if there's a heavy wind coming through, hurricanes, you could hold, stay strong, stay fixed. 5 seconds, keep it up. And time. Push back into your down dog, and then go ahead and walk your feet up to your hands. All right. Now we're going to move on to balance, but we're still going to be holding and flexing through the core to hold that balance. All right. So start with your left foot on the ground. Grab through that core, pelvic floor muscles, shoulders back and down. Think about your stacked stance. Shoulders over hips, pelvis neutral, and the knee is soft with the hip over the supporting leg. All right, so you're going to lift the right foot and see if you can hold it straight out in front. We're going to go for 30 seconds. If you need to drop it or if you need to bend the knee, that's fine. Watch your core, watch your stance, hold steady. We're halfway there, 30 seconds. Level off the hips, grab with the back, tighten through the core. Grip into that leg evenly, the four corners of your foot on the ground. 3, 2, and 1. I think I started leaning back there, something to watch. Okay, now kick your leg back. So we're going to stay with our balance, still focus on the core. Flex tight all the way around. Level off your hips. Tighten through that core. Level off your shoulders. I love single leg deadlifts, as you know. So we're going to make sure that our form is perfect, beautiful, building the muscle that we want all through. Okay, come up to standing. Last little segment on this leg. You're going to bring your toe up and around. Then we're going to go back the other way. Up and around. We're going to go 5 each direction. Again, focus the core. When you focus, when you set into what you want to feel and get the work out of it as opposed to just checking it off. Okay, I did 5. What's next? Okay, I did 5. What's next? Set in. Slow down. Compact and contract. One more. Remember your stability and mobility points. Whew, okay, now let's hit up the other side. Right foot flexed or on the ground. Flex all the way through the thigh. Tuck in that tailbone. Core holds strong. Shoulders back and down. Lift that left leg. All right. Balance is good. Core is good. Lifted chest. Pull the shoulders. Check in with the foot. Are you leaning in or out? The one on the ground, that is. 5 seconds. Got a little shake going. 3, 2, kick that leg back. Left leg is kicking back. And then make a long back. Leveled off hips. See if you can get that pelvis level, neutral. Lift the leg a little higher, but then drop that hip a little lower. Did you forget about the core? Keep those shoulder blades packed in. Keep going. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, come up. And we're going to go around in that circle, up and over. Bring it up and around, and then back. 2, connect, get that core. 3, leg works a lot. Seated up on that supporting side. 4, and 5. All right. Come on down with me into a low squat. So that's our start. Core stability. I've already got some sweat going. So, it is hot here in this garage, but you should definitely be feeling heat. So if not, you need to get to where A, you're adequately hydrated, and then B, that you can really build the flexion to connect deep and build the heat so that you get your core temperature and burn picking up. Okay, so our weighted set, back. So important to get a strong back, to get pretty back muscles, hold posture erect. That's going to help us keep the core going as well, support that low back. So we're going to start off, we have 15 reps of a scapula squeeze. Your scapula are these wings in the back. Okay, so sometimes it's difficult to get underneath the traps, the trapezoids that sit on your neck and then go down into that little V between your shoulder blades. We want to get underneath those and find the rhomboids. Those are what we really need for posture and to release the neck. If you have neck issues, if you feel like you get tension in your neck, it's really important to get the back engaged and strong and capable for supporting all that's going on. So we're going to have our feet hip width, straight ahead, your knees track with the toes, hinge back. We're just going body weight because we really want to find the ability to develop the flex without even holding weight and resistance. So shoulders are back and down. So you got to engage those shoulder heads back. So right here, I can feel my core. I'm not overarching my low back, so I don't have too much wink on that tailbone. But I can feel already flex between the shoulder blades. So again, keeping that core temperature up. My legs are gripped, my core, my butt, and my back. So elbows, pretend you're holding something. Elbows come up, squeeze together, hold a split second, and then drop. Squeeze, So see if you can find those rhomboids just by self-flexing and moving your arms. Feel that core, hold strong, grip into those legs. Remember, tighten the belly all the way around. It's not just pulling belly button to spine, but tighten those rib cages in, pelvic floor, space between ears and shoulders, like your giraffe, reaching your neck up, up, up. Find that squeeze. 9. Perfect form, perfect muscles. No tension anywhere else. Focus. Contract. Here's 13. My back is on fire, so hopefully yours is too. 14. Grab deeper with that core. 15. All right. Very well done. Okay, we're going to move to our lawnmower. So we did a scapula squeeze focusing on the rhomboids, right? So sorry if I'm geeking out too much on what the muscles are, but I really find that if you can connect with this, and if you get irritated by my stopping and talking, just jumping jacks or mountain climbers, whatever. But if you can connect to what you want to be working and where you want to be using, I really feel like you can get the muscle tone that I think a lot of you are looking for, me included. I like muscle tone. It's a fun byproduct of having strong body. Okay, so take your back hip, roll it around. My right hip is back, left hip is forward, and you're going to put your left elbow on top of the left knee. So we just hit up the rhomboids. Now we want to find our lats. So on the side of the back. So what you got to do again is pack in those shoulder blades. Remember, we're stable across those shoulders on the back. And then you're going to pull the elbow and rotate just a teeny bit through the mid back. So I just have 15 pounds today that I'm using. Generally and traditionally, you can go a lot heavier, but I really want to focus on my own self-flexion. Getting contraction first, finding the heat where I want it, behind my armpit. That's the serratus muscle, and then along that lat. So we're going to 15. There's 8, 9, 10. 5 to go. Where's the core? Don't forget. Everything matters. 3. Pull the elbow back toward your back hip. 1. Perfect. Now we're going to get that other side. So hopefully you felt the light, the heat, all there. Okay, right leg forward, left leg back, square off. We need that core that we found from the beginning. Core is stability. Core is health for that low back. Pack in your shoulder blades. Belly strong. Find that neutral pelvis and pull. Focus. There's 4. Slow it down. 5. Find the burn where you want it. Contract. Nothing in your neck. 8. 9. 10. See if you can keep the flexion and the heat even as the arm goes back to the ground. Build both directions of the move. 14 and 15. Well done. Okay. Next up, we're going to go more into the muscles of the rear delt, okay, and the upper back. So we're going to do a T raise. Many of you have done these before. You need really light weight. I'm going to hold 5s. Again, that stance, everything else is super important. So find your stance first. Pelvis is neutral. Core is locked in. Hinge your hips back and make your back super duper flat. Slide the shoulder blades down. Hold that core strong. Try your best to get your back about parallel to the ground. And if it's better for you to sit on a box or a chair to do this, that's totally fine. Then you just lean over your thighs and your thumbs are lifting first. Take your time. Remember, we want to think about where we want the move. 3. So if that means you need to stand up, adjust, reset, sit back into it, fine. Get it right where you want it. Keep the core, build into the muscles on your shoulder blades. So keep the shoulder heads rolled back and down. 8. Make sure the belly stays strong. Support that low back. We need our core for stability. 5 to go. 2. Nice work. And 1. Very good. All right. Set the weights down. We're going to take a little bit of a stretch. Keep the core strong. Just twist through that mid back. We're going to go one more set. Whew. My heart rate's up. I'm sweating. So definitely getting some workout. Okay, we're going to start with our scapula squeeze. So back into those rhomboids. Slide the shoulder blades. Connect into that core. Really, really engage. Sit back and down. You're finding as much flex as possible. So if you're familiar with doing yoga, isometric flexion, hugging muscle to bone. When we hit up planks. 6. You're going for as much grip as possible. 7. Focus those rhomboids deep between those scapula. Pretend you're holding and hauling lots of weight. 5 to go. 5. Should have a long spine, flat back. 3, 2, and 1. All right, perfect. Back to our lawnmowers. I'm going to start on the left side. So right leg forward, left leg back. Lengthen through the back. Please check in with that left hip. Try not to rotate onto that right side. So you're really going to be forced to get your back flatter, which is what we want, and the core stronger. Lengthen and contract. 2, 3, 4. Grab deeper through that core. 6. Remember, we want our lats. 7. So down the side of the back. 8. Tighten deeper through that core. 14 and 15. All right, split it up, other side. Make it long, make it strong. Already here, flex into the core, tighten deep, find your back, and then move. I love pretty back muscles. Connect with the body, mind to muscle. Scan through, check in. Strong core, strong back, long back. 5 to go. 3, 2, and 1. Whew, all right. Okay, we're going to our T-raise, hitting up those scapula muscle. Level off through those feet. Shoulders back and down, pinkies together. Find that flat back. As you hinge forward, hold strong through the core. And here we go. Four, 5, grip deeper. 6, 7, keep those shoulders rolled back. 8, get your back to do the work. Stay out of the neck. Tighten through that core. Open the chest off the ribs. 13. 14, core and back, core and back, core and back. 15. All right. Perfect. All right, we're going to take it down to the mat. So if you just finished the formatting frenzy with me, we were doing 30 reps, 20 reps, 10 reps, and we've done those exercises at those reps. So it's just interesting to kind of think back and note how different the feel was for those massive amount of reps. Cross your right ankle over the left knee. Let both legs drop to the left. Put your arms out wide. So it's good. It's good to do a lot of reps. And we'll go back to that here and there. But it's really good to slow down, to check in, and to really develop your own self-flex behind each of those reps. So a few times for sure through that series, I could tell I was just trying to get through it, make sure we get it all done in the allotted time. Okay, come up to center. We're going to go to the other side. Cross left ankle over the right knee, and then drop both legs to the right. So we're going to be hitting up some super great core focus every day. We're going to have some muscle focus, just like we did. So really trying to kind of target a general muscle group. We'll definitely have some full body days and then our HIIT days. But I want to see what we can do, what we can build, the tone that we can create. So hopefully you have access to a few different sets of weights. All right, bring those legs together or back to center. And then we're just going to take a figure 4 stretch. So interlace your hands behind the knee, pull both legs into the chest. I would recommend also grabbing a foam roller, rolling the arms and back, keeping those forearms happy. You can roll your pecs. All right, switch to the other side. There are some foam rolling videos on the site, so look those up, get those happening. Especially for back, though, I feel like it's just such a great way to get those muscles released and relaxed and recovered, so you can come back and do more. Perfect. All right, and then let's go ahead and rock and roll our way up. Take your left foot and pull it in to your right inner thigh, and then we're going to bring both arms up overhead, twist over the right leg, and then reach as far as you can, toward that right foot. So you should feel a little bit of stretch through that left lat that we worked with the lawnmowers. Again, check in. What's going on with the body? Where do we want to be feeling the stretch? Where can we adjust just a little bit? All right, release there. Other side. Body mechanics are different for everyone. So, adjust a teeny bit. We want to keep those general arms come up, rotate to your left leg, and then reach forward. We want to keep those mobile and stable positions across the board. But then as far as how wide you put your legs or how much weight you hold for one thing or another, everybody's a little different. How far the elbow can come. Our proportions are different, which is awesome. So just remember that. You need to do what's right for you. Feel that hamstring, get into the lat. All right, and then we've been working on a stretch. We always hit it no matter what, the end of every session. So for this cycle, we're going to do a seated forward fold. All right, so it'll help give us an idea on how our flexibility is coming along. So bring those arms all the way up. First thing is you should be able to get your arms up overhead and not collapse back, right? So if your back is dropping back and you're not able to even kind of get toward the legs, this is how we first need to just start working on. So it's that tightness in the hamstrings and even just being able to lift the hips so that the pelvis gets stacked, right? So that it actually can get into neutral. So you can kind of pull your booty cheeks, your sits bones back. That'll help you find that seated position. Use your hands to help lift. If you need to bend your knees a bit at the first, that's fine. And then also sitting on like a towel or a block or a roller to lift the hips can give you a little more space there. If you're fine sitting here with a tall back, you could get your arms all the way up and the backs of the knees toward the ground. From there, just exhale and let yourself fall over the legs. So wherever it is that you end up, it's fine. We're just going to kind of chart our progress over the next 12 weeks. 60 days of this stretch. Hopefully, we'll see some improvement. A couple more deep breaths. All right. Release from there. See if you can get those feet up under you. We'll take a little low squat. Let those hips get open a bit. You can kind of push them wider with your inner arm, your upper arm. And then take a stand. All right, guys, we got through day one. You kind of know what's coming just a bit. There's definitely going to be some different movements. Whew, head rush. All right, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fantastic, and I'll see you tomorrow.